Okay, so I've got my clay open. I've cut off a piece. This is kind of stiff. It may be too stiff to throw. I've put some water together for throwing, so I'm going to see if I can get some clay in here. Get this clay soft enough that I can actually throw with it. Otherwise, I may have to grab some of my other stuff. Okay, so I've grabbed some of my Crayola Air Dry Clay because this is nice and soft. I like to use this for hand building as well because it feels like natural clay, and see how it does. So let's get started and see what we've got. So to center, and it says in the instructions not to push down too hard on the wheel, and I can see, yeah, it's struggling a little bit when I put a lot of pressure on it, but for a small amount of clay, and enough water, I think I can get this centered. Yeah, okay. So far so good. Struggling a little bit. I've got the highest setting right now on the dial. So for centering, you definitely want to do it on the highest setting. And make sure you've got a lot of water on your hands in the clay so we don't get a lot of friction. Slip into the slip bucket. So I've been playing with this a little bit. I got my first 2 poles done, and the wheel itself is handling quite nicely. And I'm actually really impressed with the way this Crayola Air Dry Clay is working as well. I didn't wedge it up. I didn't knead it up nearly as much as I probably should have before I started, so that's on me as to why it's getting a little more lopsided than I'd like. But that means I can put the needle tool to the test. Let's see if we can get this evened out. Okay. This feels like a pretty typical needle tool that you could buy at any supply store or pottery supply store, so that's a good thing. Tools in there and get them soaked. Let's see how they do. The wooden tools, it's very typical since these need to be able to stand up to water, and they are splintering a little bit after being ducked in water, so not as high quality as you'd get in like a starter kit, but still not too bad. For being free, not too bad. And then just using the sponge on the stick to push out. See how well it handles, how well it stands up to the clay. Normally I would use try to see how it holds up at the slower speeds. So I do some nitpicky stuff on this. See if I can get that bump out of there without it shutting down the entire machine. No, that's not too bad. Is it okay? So far I'm not disappointed. I'm gonna just do some trimming off the end here. Might need to okay. I'm impressed. This isn't bad for a wheel that's tabletop and you can purchase for less than $100 off of Amazon. This is not a bad little wheel. I'm impressed with how well it handled that. I wouldn't do large projects in there. I can tell by the instructions that wouldn't be able to handle it. But small pieces to get started, I am not unhappy. This is not bad at all. And the tools that it comes with aren't terrible either. Needle tools, this is a standard. That's a really good needle tool, I can tell. This, let's see what this is like right now. Not bad. Let's do one more just to see if it is consistent. Let's put the clay up a little bit more this time. Let's see how it does if I try to trim it off while it's still moving. Not bad. Switch this one over. Now, since the clay that it came with was too stiff to throw, I've been using Crayola Air Dry Clay, which I'm very impressed by as well. Okay, this is better than I expected. I wasn't expecting much considering the price of the wheel, but a decent, less than $100 pottery wheel. I'm quite impressed. So, as you can see, it did the job. It's fairly easy to handle. The dial speeds are very easy to adjust. All in all, I'd say not a bad little wheel for the price point. If you've always wanted to get into pottery or want to get back into pottery but don't have $800 to $1,500 or over $2,000 for a full-size wheel that's on the market, then this is definitely something you can start out with. It's portable, it's easy to store. You put it back in the box if you want to and put it on a shelf. And with the air dry clay, you don't even need a kiln. So I'm very happy. All in all, I'm very impressed. Thank you for watching.